Hello, students of class 7. Today, let us learn the continuation of chapter 20, State Government, from your social science civics. Well, in the previous classes, we have discussed the structure and classification of state government, like legislature, executive, and judiciary. All right. And we have also discussed about the so to say the two types of legislature, that is Vidhan Parishad and Vidhan Sabha. No. Okay. We also have discussed that have two houses of legislature in India, which is also known as bicameral legislature. The states like Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Telangana and Uttar Pradesh, they have two houses of legislature. Okay, and also we have talked together, we have discussed together some of the important officials of Manipur state as per 2021. Okay, Governor, Chief Minister, Deputy Chief Minister, Speaker, Deputy Speaker and all. And we also have discussed about the role of the speaker in the state legislature. Well, today we'll continue with the state legislature. Okay, so if a person, you can see from the picture, this is Manipur Legislative Assembly. So if a person, I'm not talking only about Manipur Legislative Assembly. If I say legislature, there are 28 states in India. All the states, they have their own legislature. So if I'm talking about legislature, I'm talking about all the 28 states of India. Okay, so I just want to clarify on that. So if a person wanted to be a member of a state legislature, we need some qualifications are required. Okay, first one is he must be a citizen of India. That means a person from Honolulu or a person from Nigeria cannot be a member of this legislative assembly. All right, or a Burmese or even a Bangladeshi, they could not come to Manipur and they can be a member of this legislative assembly. He should have 25 years of age, that is the minimum years. Okay, 20 years of age, they couldn't be a member of state legislative. And in case of legislative council, Vidhan Parishad, they should be at least 30 years of age. So these are the qualification requirements for a member of legislative assembly. And let us see together the session of state legislative assembly. Usually during the session of the state legislative assembly, in which we can see in the picture, meeting, assembly means a meeting. This assembly is usually summoned by the governor of state. All right, in Manipur, Dr. Najma Heptullah, she will summon the session of state legislative assembly. So there are at least 2 sessions after 6 months in a year, and speaker and deputy speakers are usually chosen by the members of this legislative assembly. Okay, and the leaders of the opposition party, we have already talked about in the previous class, they are usually treated, or they are accorded as a rank of a cabinet minister. Okay, so these are all about the session of a state legislative assembly and some of the powers. Powers includes legislative power, that they have power to take decision. Legislative means legislation, so to say. And they have a financial power. They can pass any bills on financial matter. Okay. And they have a power to control our executive. You know what are executive? And they have a power to elect the president. Okay, they have a choice if they can cast votes and elect a president. And all the members in this legislative assembly, or what we call as MLA, they have a lot of privileges as a member. Okay, so this legislative assembly could be aboard, or we can say could be abolished, especially during the time of the breakdown of the constitutional machinery. It could be so to say abandoned, not necessarily abandoned. It can stop the works of this legislative assembly by imposing a president's rules. So in Manipur in 2000, not necessarily in 2000, yes, in 2001, the president rule had been imposed. Okay, so at the time all the members, the powers of all the members will not be there whenever there is a president's rule. One of the main function of this legislature or the state legislature is making laws, especially in the state list. Okay, we have a union list, we have a concurrent list, especially in the state list. They usually make laws, and not only that, they pass the annual budget of a state. Well, let's go to the next one. Let's go to executive. Executive, as we have already talked about this executive, and executives are usually headed by a governor of state. Right. And the governor of state is appointed by the President of India. Right. Dr. Najma Heptullah is appointed by the President of India, by Ramnath Kovind, so to say. And usually the governor does not belong to the state. Usually Najma Heptullah doesn't belong to the state of Manipur. She came from Delhi, right? So they have a tenure, or they have a so to say year of tenure of 5 years, and it could still be extended. They have executive power. What are some of the executive power? Let us see. She has a lot of power when she come to a governor. So she has, or he has, a governor has an executive power. They can appoint chief ministers and other ministers on the advice of chief minister, so to say. You understand? And he also appoints, the governor also appoints advocate general, chairman, and other members of the State Public Service Commission. State Public Service Commission, I'm sure you know what is it. And also, a governor also has the power to nominate an Anglo-Indian to the State Assembly. Okay. They also have a legislative power. The Assembly, which we talked about earlier, is usually summoned, prorogues, dissolve, okay, and give assent or reserve the bills by the governor. He or she can do that. The governor can do that, so to say. Okay. They also promulgate ordinances when assembly is not in session. They have a judicial power too. A governor can grant pardon, or a governor can reduce the sentence of any person convicted under the state law. If a person is convicted, if they are criminally, if a person is arrested, and if they have been sentenced, a governor can pardon that very person. Okay, let's go to the next one, Chief Minister. Chief Minister of a state is usually appointed by the governor of state. Okay, the functions of Chief Minister includes he is the head of the governor. During the meeting of minister, he presides over the cabinet meeting. He controls the agenda of the meeting. He also selects. The chief minister select ministers. Okay, minister, that he should be the power minister, or he should be a child and family welfare minister. In that way, that's he distributes the portfolio. That's what we call as portfolios. Okay, the works or the duty allotted to a minister is what we call as portfolio. And also is responsible to the state legislative assembly with other minister, and in fact this chief minister is the spokesperson or the spokesman of the governor. And some of the functions of the council of ministers, as we have already talked about ministers, they are actual executive or what we call as de facto executive of a state. They formulate the policies of the government. Okay, all the policy, all the works of the government are done by or implemented by this council of minister. They also enforce laws, both state and union. Okay, they apply all the laws, or they enforce all the laws of this state as well as the union. And opposition party, you might have heard opposition party, an opposition leader, they check and restrict the government. So these opposition party are also very important in a state legislature as well as a state executive, because opposition party will check, they will check, and if they find any misuse of the power by the ruling party or by the government, or what we call as, or by the ministers, they can oppose them, and also they can restrict the government on this matter. And the opposition party also ensure that the government does not take any authoritarian measures. Authoritarian measures means a power in their hands and do it whatever they like. That's what the opposition party used to do.